Everyone is always showing me their amazing songs, but now it's time for me to show you some amazing songs. So this is 10 out of 10 songs that you need to hear, but this is part 2. I should say, I don't know if I can really say these are 10 out of 10 masterpieces. They're definitely 9s or higher, but you know, just for YouTube's sake and titles and all that, 10 out of 10 just makes it a little bit more clickable, you know? These are the songs I've grown up over the years, or songs that I've heard recently doing my Twitch live streams or YouTube content. I don't know, I'm on all social media platforms, right? Not on OnlyFans yet. Anyway, I should turn this conversation to something else. Guys, here's 10 out of 10 songs that you need to hear in the metal, rock, prog, deathcore world, okay? That's all we need for chit chat. Everyone knows I gotta talk about Aviations and their song Outliers. And the reason is, in my last video, everyone's like, I'm surprised you didn't mention Aviations. Where's Aviations? Aviations. I'm like, the reason why I didn't do it is because it's predictable. I feel like people who follow the channel know that I'm going to put this in my list, but I'm going to do it now to make the people happy to say, where's Aviations? But yeah, this song still holds the title as the best song I've ever heard on my channel. Out of every song through Twitch, through YouTube, this is number 1.
Take 1 second to look. Be afraid of
When I first checked this out, I had very little expectations, but then I put my reaction video out and lots of people started reacting to it too. And it was the snowball effect. A lot of people started checking out Aviations. Majority of people who reacted to the song, who's never seen my video, who's never heard of Aviations too, were all like, wow, this is incredible. People were floored by the song too. I've seen several people cry through this song too in their reaction videos. And the reception that Aviations got from this song encouraged them to write a whole new album. And because of it, now I'm very close to the band. We've built a really close relationship, and I finally met the guys like last month. The only reason why I can see someone not liking it is just pure subjectiveness. But I think from objectively looking at it, it's just so masterfully well done. Just it's incredible that it's all DIY and they put this out. Like it's incredible. Let's move on to something that's a little bit more familiar. So this is another song that I would argue could be a 10 out of 10, at least very close to a 10 out of 10. And it could be a little bit of a hot take. And this band is one of the biggest rock/metal bands in the world right now. It is Bring Me the Horizon. But what song do I think is their best? Again, this is going to be a hot take, but I think Nihilist Blues is actually incredibly masterfully polished song from start to finish. It is not even metal, but I think it is one of the most interesting, unique sounding songs from the band, and the structure and the melody choices and the ideas are just so fucking cool.
I've been climbing up the walls to escape the sinking feeling, but I'm a spirit in a tune. Won't somebody raise a roof? I'll follow. Listening to the floor.
yeah, it goes on for 2 more minutes. I think it's just such a weird, interesting, experimental song from Bring on the Horizon. It's also one of their most popular songs too. And yeah, it's not metal, but it's also stretching at almost 6 minutes long. It's just such a fucking cool, well-crafted track in my opinion. We're going back to an older song, a band that I really, really like. These guys are one of the most odd, forward-thinking, abrasive metal/punk bands out there. This is Mathcore, and this is the Dillinger Escape Plan, but it's the song Widower. Now, Widower to me is the most interesting Dillinger Escape Plan song because it's not the typical in-your-face crazy mathcore that they're known for, but instead it's jazzy. It's one of their more experimental songs that is different, but I think it paid off in every aspect.
I threw myself onto you. Some things I said were never true. When you walked away, I've reached your name. I couldn't watch you wishing for something that seemed more impossible by the day. Obsessed with thoughts that define out personally. I couldn't hold on to.
Next, I actually reviewed it on Twitch, and I think when I reviewed it, I gave it like a 9.5. After some time, I think, no, the song's a 10 out of 10. I think this is one of the greatest songs I've ever heard. I think it's one of the best music videos that I've ever seen. It stuck with me. That's the thing about with some songs. I think you need some time for them to sit, and then you can gauge them later on. And this song was case in point. I think this song is a fucking masterpiece. This is Blackshape, and the song title is ITIIITIIHYLIHYL.
If this is it, I hope you live. If this is it, if this is all there is, I hope you
Yeah, so this is post-rock. Basically they wrote like 11-12 track album that is all instrumental. This is the only song that has vocals, and they only left the vocals for that part of the song. The lines in it, there's not a lot of lyrics, but for some reason they mean so much. If this is all that there is, I hope you live. It's the total definition of less is more. Very little lyrics, but they convey so much, especially with the song and the music video. Next song though, we're actually going back to something a little bit more old school. I don't know if this is a proper 10 out of 10, but I think this is it's one of my favorite songs ever from one of my favorite bands ever. So we're going to Underoath, and Underoath's best record, without a doubt, and I'll fight you anytime if you disagree, but it's Define the Great Line, baby. Okay, there's a lot of people that love There's Only Chasing Safety or Lost in the Sound of Separation, but Define the Great Line is fucking goated for me. But what is the best song? People would think it's Right on the Walls. No, it's not Right on the Walls, okay? Right on the Walls is a classic emo banger, but since I'm a fan of the heavy heavies, it's Returning Empty-Handed. That song, to me, is just point A to point B fucking relentless banger. why this is so high for me is that Spencer Chamberlain, to me, is one of the best screamers that has ever graced the scene. His range is one of my favorites, but also it's his enunciation. Underoath has always been one of the most clear bands where you can actually hear like every word that he's like actually screaming. One thing that's cool about this Define the Great Line album too, it's one of the best produced records that I've ever heard, because this album is like 20 years old now and it still sounds really fucking good to this day. Let's move on to a different 10 out of 10 song. This might be a little bit surprising for some of you guys, but because maybe I don't talk about them as much as I do, but this is definitely one of the most important metalcore bands. They influenced Counterparts, few other bands too. I'm just thinking for sure Counterparts has mentioned several times that they wouldn't exist if it wasn't for this band, and I'm talking about Misery Signals. And Misery Signals, the Failsafe, is one of the best metalcore songs ever written, in my opinion. Just like Spencer, Carl's enunciation, you can hear everything that he's saying too, which always made him a standout vocalist, in my opinion. Give us a sign! Yeah, and Misery Signals just announced their farewell tour, and you had like Mike Strainer and a few like notable musicians commenting like how sad they are, because Misery Signals, again, they're one of the most respected bands in metalcore, yet they're so underrated. There's a lot of bands like that musicians know, but like they never got the traction from fans. So actually that's a really good segue to the next band that I have here. So the next song that is a 10 out of 10 is from a band that is so ahead of their time. It's SikTh. I'm going to put on Bland Street Bloom because this song is just so fucking dirty. It's sick. Guitar work is so cool. They have two vocalists. Again, they're considered one of the gent godfathers. They just got overshadowed by Meshuggah. Again, the guitar work was so ahead of its time. You know, maybe not by today's standards, but this was 2004, I think, when this album came out. It influenced Periphery massively. Protest the Hero 2, which, you know, those two bands changed the guitar world back in the day too. Next up, I'm putting in a lot of bands that I know and they're a little bit old school, but let's play something that most of you guys know. Everyone knows this band in the chat. I would be surprised if you don't know who this band is. Let's put on some Silent Planet. Panic Room. Panic Room, I think, is one of the most unique metalcore songs ever written. This is basically poetry core. So the song's all about a veteran suffering through PTSD. But why this song is, to me, a 10 out of 10 is how the lyrics actually work alongside the instruments and the music. And I think Panic Room is one of the most unique songs where, again, the lyrics absolutely match the instrumentals. So I'm going to play the song. For people that have never heard it, yeah, the song's very intense.
Let's just rise up, scared by opaque blinds. Frozen metacarpals tap, tap, tap. The nightly casualty of war. And it sounds like this. War. As we send my sentience, the sickness.
But the last song on the list for me is a fucking banger, okay? It's one of the most iconic songs in the punk world. It also is a little bit metal, but it's definitely more of a punk track. But it's so iconic that people have used it in like the Doom trailer. The TV show The Bear uses this song too. It's just one of the most iconic songs, but it's also a song that was so ahead of its time that they literally changed the punk scene forever with this record. It's considered one of the best records ever made. It's actually from my favorite record ever, but it's Refused. The song New Noise off the album Shape of Punk to Come. And this was in 1998. So it was just very, very different than anything else. But yeah, this is Refused, New Noise. The people who've watched The Bear, they probably know this riff. I just want to see this again.
Peggy 18.
I remember this actually worked well with this trailer. But here's an example of the song being used in so much media. Those are the 10 out of 10 fucking bangers, masterpieces, okay? There's some old songs for the newbies in the scene to find out about, and there's also some bands like Bring the Horizon and Silent Planet that are people know, but those are my favorite songs from those bands.